Good evening. Assalamu alaikum. Welcome back to Salam Media. I'm your host, Dakir Dahoud, and we're now heading into the second half of the show where we're going to be chatting a bit of an alternative sport. We're going to be chatting about kickboxing tonight. I'm joined on the line by Aslam Mahomed, who is the president of Kickboxing Africa, as well as the president of Kickboxing South Africa. He's going to tell us a bit more about the sport and what exactly the sport is getting up to this moment in time and where they're currently competing and how we, as sport lovers, can follow kickboxing in South Africa. Assalamu alaikum. Good evening. Thank you for joining me on Salam Media. I'm looking forward to this conversation. It's one that's been so long overdue.
Walaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Thank you for having me on your show, Zakir.
Aslam, it's always a pleasure. Kickboxing is a sport that's followed by many, adored by many South Africans around the country. How did you get into kickboxing?
I've started kickboxing from an 18-month-old baby. Basically, I started kickboxing with my dad. My brothers and sisters were all involved in kickboxing. It's a family sport. My dad is 83, and he's been doing kickboxing for the last 78 years. So we grew up doing kickboxing over the years, and we just progressed and carried on with the sport, and it passed on from generation to generation.
Talking of passing on from generation to generation, you now took the baton and you managed to get the next generation of your family involved in kickboxing.
Yes, my kids are involved in kickboxing, and so we're the third generation now, and in fact, the grandkids are also into kickboxing. So the fourth generation has already started as well.
How did you get this going? I mean, you started something there in the Mohammed family.
Yeah, it's something that we enjoy. That's the most important thing. We say a family that kicks together stays together.
Definitely, as long as you're not kicking each other.
Yeah.
Aslam, looking at things, recently there was the World Junior Kickboxing Championships in Italy. Tell us a bit more about the championship and what exactly it takes for one to participate in the championships, and how do you get selected to participate in it?
With the World Kickboxing Championships, you first go through a process of selections. I'm talking from a national perspective. You will get you'll get your districts. Your districts will participate as your province. Your province participate at the national championships, and then you're selected. Either you make the national team or presidential team, and only 2 athletes per category can participate at the World Championships. And these athletes then travel to the World Championships. But before that, there's a process of coaching by instructors, and it's like very vigorous training sessions that happens, coaching sessions to get these athletes prepared. In South Africa, we have good coaches. Like, for example, the team that we've taken now to the World Kickboxing Championships, we had a congregation of total of a delegation of 102 athletes, 102 members. From there, 44 were athletes, 1 was a referee, 36 were coaches, and we had 21 supporters. And I was fortunate enough that 3 of my executive members from the South African Kickboxing Association accompanied me. I had one of the vice president, Mr. Theron. He went in as a referee, and Mrs. van Staden, Louise van Staden, went in as a coach. And I also got in as the delegation leader, and I've coached some of the athletes.
And I mean, for you, the transition from athlete to coach, what was it like? Was it quite an easy process for you?
It's at times, when you get involved from athlete to coach, you have to decide now. As a coach, you can still compete at the senior championships, but I've got more involved into the administration. I've been into sports administration for the past 25 years, and And then you have to make a decision that I will coach the athletes, but I will be involved in the admin, because if you don't have a good structure, if you don't have a good administration, then you can bring the organization down. And that's where our key focus is, on the admin, development. If I take you through some of the statistics, at this World Championship, there were 63 countries that participated. From the 63 countries, there were 2,870 athletes that participated. And it's you're dealing with different world presidents, different national federations, and the standard is very high, because we are looking to be participants at the Olympics. We're working towards the 2028 Olympics in Los Angeles. And if you look at the different countries, if you look at the coaching structures, the training regimens, and so on, it's phenomenal. And every year, kickboxing has progressed to mind-blowing levels. If you look at a country like Bulgaria, that was the number one country in the world. The second country was Hungary. Then we had Great Britain, followed by Ireland. We are ranked number 34 in the world out of 63 countries that participated, which is fantastic. We attained 10 medals at the World Championship, which for South Africa is excellent.
Mm. And I mean, getting so many medals at the tournament this big, what is this saying to the broader South African public? And will it help getting participants involved in kickboxing so that people can know there's a future in the sport? Because now it starts as something as simple as world champs dominating on that scene or getting medaled at that scene. And then there's Commonwealth that's coming up. Then there's also there's so many other events before the Olympics that's coming up. Do you think by 2028 we'll be ready?
Inshallah, we should be ready. I mean, I'm part of the delegation that's sorting out the Commonwealth Games for kickboxing. We are also working towards African Games, and with regards to like you mentioned now, the build up to the Olympics. What we have is that this year in August in Johannesburg, in Benoni, we hosted the African Championship. We had 20 countries that applied to participate. 12 of them managed to get the visas and participated at the African Championships. And we chose a team for the World Combat Games, which is held in Saudi Arabia in Riyadh next year, October. From the 12 athletes that were selected, 6 of them were South Africans on the tatami, which is the mat sport. And then there's the ring side. And we have countries like Egypt, Senegal, Morocco, and Mauritius that participated, and not just participate, but they were winners in those categories in the ring. So we have a delegation of 12 athletes that's going to represent the African continent at the World Combat Games next year, which is like the Olympics of kickboxing. And then we've also got entry for the European Olympics, which is next year in Europe. And that's our build up to go to the 2028 Olympics. For example, the athletes that won, we have athletes that won from Pretoria, from Johannesburg. We had 1 gold medal and 9 bronze medals at this championship. Now, if you look at, these are still juniors, and if you look at the development that's going to happen from here, it's going to be. It takes these athletes, gives them confidence, and takes them to a whole new height. And I don't want to sound like a salesman for kickboxing. And like you said, how would we promote kickboxing? Firstly, if you look at the 5 maxims of kickboxing or martial arts, is character, sincerity, effort, self-control, and etiquette. And if you look at the discipline process, and any sport gives athletes discipline, and your best performance in education, if you go back and you go into history and if you do research, you'll see athletes perform very well academically. And with this type of discipline, it also gives you protection. It gives you self-confidence. your confidence level. If you look at today's type of scenarios of sexual abuse, your rape cases. Now you take males and females. This type of sports protects you and gives you the self confidence and motivates you. And we really love the sport. We motivate the sport. We are busy with development, not just in South Africa, not just rural development and township development, but development at all levels, from urban to every level, because we believe that in this type of in any type of sport, and if you want people to work together, we say that there's only one race, and that's the human race, and sport unite people.
Such a fact. I mean, sport really unites people. Look what it done for South Africa in 1995. Look what it's done for South Africa again in 2007, and then again 2019. Just talking of one perspective, from a rugby perspective, look what it's done for the country. Going forward, I mean, kickboxing. You've told us where you want to take the sport, where the sport is going, what you guys are currently doing. But for the youth that want to get involved in kickboxing, where do they start? Because they're going to find this video on social media, but will they know where to get started and how to get started?
We have a website called www.kickboxers.co.za. If you go onto our website, you will find the clubs in all 9 provinces in the districts. You will find instructors with their phone numbers, email addresses. So if you go to our website, I'll repeat the website, is www.kickboxers.co.za. And if you go there, or they can contact me or my secretary, General Secretary Louis van Staden, we will gladly assist anyone. Remember, a sport like kickboxing, there's no age.
Yeah.
We got kids that are competing from the age 6 and 7 years of age to, for example, an instructor, coach like my dad, who's 83 years old, who's an instructor till today. And just to highlight, for example, my kids participated together with other students in South Africa. My daughter was 11 years old. She brought back 2 medals. We landed back from Italy on Monday. On Wednesday, she was in class training, and she's preparing for the next World Championship. So it just shows that it develops an athlete. There's development starts from all levels, from grassroots level to elite athletes. So I think going forward, pushing the sport of kickboxing with the Olympic Committee, we are members of SASCOC, and we are just received our provisional membership, and it should be ratified at the next AGM for us to be full members. And I think we're just going to grow and grow and grow.
No, definitely, and we're looking forward to watching the journey and watching you grow over time and seeing how the sport grows firstly in South Africa, and then how you grow, and how the fellow kickboxers that are now kickboxing, bringing home medals, grow as well in the process. Because I think it's important for us not just to follow a journey from when it starts, but right through the highs and the lows. And that's definitely what we'll do, and what will motivate the next generation of kickboxing athletes coming through. But Aslam, I mean, from an administration perspective, what's next up for you? What have you got lined up for the year to come and the years to come? You have Olympics on your mind. You've got all Africa Games on your mind. What can we expect from you in the next few months and years to come?
We're preparing to send a team to the World Cup next year, which is held in not in Antalya, in Istanbul, Turkey. The World Cup will be held there in May. Our national championships will be a week after Ramadan, inshallah. So all our Muslim athletes will have to train during Ramadan for them to make the national team. And then we also looking at the Hungarian Cup and the World Senior Championships, the WACO World Senior Championships, which is held next year around November. So the reason why we are pushing at all the European championships, the European countries are um, obviously the best performing countries currently, and that's why we're developing. And in order for us to develop, we are going to start to bring some of the European coaches down and have seminars, because then we are going to start growing. And if you become complacent, and this is always about sports, and I tell everyone this, you never lose. You either win or learn. And I mentioned this to all our athletes coming back, that they are juniors, they're kids. We had children from the age of 7 with us, and I told them, you never lost, you learned. You go back to the drawing board, and that's what we as administrators, as coaches, as instructors, it's our duty to go and look at, like I look now, we're at number 34 in the world. And the next target, let's get into the 20s. Then let's get into the teens, and then move in the top 10. So every year you progress, you get better and better. And we use strategies from the European countries. And WACO has an open door policy with all our countries, with all. I'm the continental president as well. So I can pick up the phone the other continental president, tell him I need help from this country or one of your coaches. Can you send them down for two weeks? We'll have a training camp. I spoke to Great Britain already. We have one of the coaches there, Elijah Everell, was the world's greatest at the moment on tatami kickboxing. And we spoke to him to bring him down next year to help our tatami fighters. I spoke to Mauritius for their coach, because they are our neighbors and they're the best performing in the ring. So if we don't start getting help from countries, then we're not going to grow.
No, definitely. I seriously get you, and I get where you're coming from. It's exciting times for kickboxing for all of the South Africans out there that are interested in the sport and want to play the sport. We hope that you watch this interview and go back and see exactly how you can get involved in kickboxing and where the trajectory leads for kickboxing in South Africa. That was the continental president and the national president, Aslam Mahomed. Thank you so much for joining us on Salam Media this evening. It was a pleasure and honor having you on the show and getting to learn more about kickboxing so that you could educate us, the Salam Media team, as well as the South African public, on how exactly we can get involved in kickboxing and what you guys are getting up to behind the scenes in kickboxing in order to make the sport in South Africa a global threat to many other countries, knowing that we're coming for all the gold medals.
I just want to touch on one thing, just to all
No,
our
definitely.
medalists,
Go for it.
all the medalists that medaled at the World Championships. Congratulations. The Van den Heever from the Western Cape, he got a gold medal. Owen Botha from Pretoria, Michaela Green, I mustn't forget some, Grobler, Emma Jane, and the rest. Ahmed, my son, also won 2 bronze medals. He had 30 fighters in his category, 30 countries, and he placed with 2 bronze medals. Salama, and if I'm forgetting any other names, I'm sorry, but we got a few. There's 10 medalists from South Africa, and I will just tell them congratulations in bringing home those medals. And those that never medal, you learned. Come back to the drawing board. And let's go forward, and let's make it in the next 20s at the next World Championships.
Most definitely. That was Aslam Mahomed. Thank you so much for your time this evening. Really appreciate it. And we look forward to chatting to you real soon to hear a bit more about what's happening in kickboxing and how exactly we can get involved and what medal South Africa is winning in the future. Aslam, thank you so much. Really appreciate it.
Thank you for your time, and inshallah, and thank you for all the viewers for listening to us. Jazakallah.
Ameen. That was Aslam Mahomed giving us a bit of a breakdown on what exactly is going on in the world of kickboxing, how we can get involved, and where they will be heading to with kickboxing in the future. The trajectory of kickboxing is on the rise, and we hope that you get involved now before it's too late. Well, from myself, Zakir Daud, and the team here at Salam Media, it's a wrap from us. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you missed any of the interviews, we hope that you will go back and listen to them in full. First up, we had Lorenzo Kohler giving us a bit of a breakdown on what happened in Q1 of the DSTV Premiership. And then in segment 2, we had Aslam Mahomed, the president of Kickboxing South Africa, the president of Kickboxing Africa, giving us a bit of a breakdown on what exactly is happening in kickboxing in the country and the continent. Well, from the team and myself, Assalamu alaikum. Until next week, we look forward to chatting all things sports with you real soon.